Greetings and welcome to the All You Can Geek Moviecast. We are here, Sans Jim, so I am left with the hosting duties, and I forgot the number of the podcast.
570,
So
572.
572. Thanks, Tony, filling in there. So that, as you heard, Tony Korkanakis is with us,
Yo.
and Mike Stanidi.
What's up?
Jim unfortunately had surgery and is recovering, so we wish him the best and hope is all is well. But this week, did we have a box office? I didn't even get to check on
We
that.
had a box office. Nothing right home.
I mean, we had a box office, but was it like anything worth mentioning?
No. It hasn't been worth
Usually
mentioning in a
isn't.
while. Like Venom, I guess, was the last thing.
You know, so let's just get into what we've been up to because there's a lot that dropped. And so I'm curious if Mike, you had watched
No,
anything yet?
no,
Nothing. Okay, just get that out of the way. Just want to
no.
make sure. But Tony, let's hear from you. What have you been
Uh,
watching?
I watched the finale for Arcane, which I assume you did.
Yes, yes, indeed.
I actually, it was funny because I was introducing another friend to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was because it was Friday night into Saturday, and we ended the episode 6 because there's 9 total. And she's like, "When does the next set come out?" And I was like, "In about like an hour, because it's like 2 a.m." She's like, "Dot dot dot." She's like, "You want to stay up?" And I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, you know what? Fine, I'll have anything to do tomorrow.
It's Friday.
Yeah,
It's Friday night, right?
Right, it's Friday night. So I stayed up until like 5 something watching it, and yeah, it was awesome. I want to say narratively, it was probably the felt most rushed, obviously, because they needed to get to conclusions and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But man, this series is so good. Like, I'm really happy with everything they did. And honestly, Silco is probably one of the best villains of all time. Like in fiction.
He's really well done. Like the thing I have to give this show a lot of credit for, like I said, I mean, like let alone this was based on a video game that had no lore whatsoever.
No,
Just really
yeah.
like this is just picture the heroes, and that's really all they were artwork. Um, the character development in this show has been some of the best I've seen in any recent medium. Like this year, even last year, like it's just really well done character development. I felt like you're saying Silco was a fantastic villain, not just because he was like evil, but because he had character that you could relate to, but at the same time, like this guy is not a good person, but you're conflicted because he's still like he's doing the things that he thinks he needs to do for his beliefs, and like when you can have a villain that you can understand what he's thinking, not necessarily agree with what he's thinking, but like you can get behind like, oh, this I get why he's the way he is and the reasons he's doing the things he's doing. It's really well done, and so like he's a great character. What's the try like all the characters are great. All like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
new guy,
Jade,
the old what's the kid's name? The Firefly kid or whatever.
Echo.
Echo. I wanted to say some. I thought it was Echo, but then I was like, wait, isn't that Marvel show that we talked about last? But yeah, he was interesting. Coming back into it because everybody's grown up now, obviously, and we haven't really seen him until this grouping be him. We saw
hmm
who he was before, but then the reveal, and yeah, I just really enjoyed all of it. And the way this ends, it's like, oh my, are you serious? You're gonna end it on
Yeah,
that?
I can't. I couldn't believe. I was like, wait. I was like, again, because I was like really. I was like, was this episode 8? Like, am I just getting things blurred together? And it's like, nope. And I was like, oh god. I was like, really. They did announce they're working on season 2 already, but they said
Yeah.
definitely not 2022. So
I mean, this
2023.
show looks like yeah, it's gonna take a little while, but yeah, like you're saying, I'm just really, it's such a good show, character wise, animation wise, and I agree with the rushed feeling because at the same time you were like, this has gotta like it's like crescendoing to this point, but then you're like, oh, ooh, and
Yeah.
wait, where's the rest of it? It's like, oh no, uh, yeah, and to see Jinx's character development, her how she gets to be the way she is.
Yeah, and to me, I
It's a
mean,
little
Jinx.
heartbreaking.
Yeah, to me, this is actually what Harley Quinn
Mm-hmm.
should be, to me at least anyway, because like I don't know, I felt with, and again, I don't know, I don't read the comics or anything like that, so I'm sure there's some run by some writer where it's really good and Harley Quinn is well written and stuff like that, as opposed to just being like, most of her time as a fictional character has been Joker's girlfriend or whatever like that. And then I know in the past couple of years they've been trying to push her to the forefront, kind of like their, I don't know, Deadpool kind of thing, like very broad, appealing, whatever, and stuff like that. But like to me, like none of the Suicide Squad stuff, none of the Harley Quinn and Poison, none of that really hit for me. I'm like, good for her, good for the character, good for the people that love that character. But to me, she was really one note. Whereas like with Jinx, because obviously I think that's where the inspiration came from, even just from like the design.
I mean, it was pretty, pretty clear.
But just how broken of a person she was due to like childhood trauma, and then stuff that happened when she was like, a later child, and it's like, oh man, you're just piling trauma on top of trauma.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, this is bad. Like this is really bad. And you need therapy, girl. Go to therapy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, all the characters are well written, and I feel like every character got good moments out of this, so I was really happy.
Even Marcus, like he was a good character as far as like his role in the story.
Oh, I love to hate him. I love to hate him. Yeah. He's actually my least favorite character. I was like, anytime he showed up, I was like, fuck you, dude. Like, get out of here. I can't wait for you to eat shit. Like, literally eat shit.
No, I mean, that's what I mean. His role in the series was fantastic, and he played it well, and it was, again, every character was really well done. Even the counselor woman that Jace's, relationship with.
Mel.
Mel, thank you. She had an interesting storyline, and like she had drama with family and stuff, and so yeah, like every character was really well like done, and you felt like there was some depth to them that a lot of shows like don't overlook, and like you mentioned with Harley Quinn, and Jinx, there's definitely comparisons. Obviously, the inspiration's there. That's you can't deny it, and I agree, they do a much better job explaining why she's broken and giving you reasons to, or not reasons, but to, giving you a sense of an idea of why she is the way she is, and it makes more sense.
It's not just a tattoo on her forehead.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, rotten.
Yeah.
And the way she deals with everything, and then how she perceives things, and the fact that she never really gets over the deaths in her life and the things that she feels responsible for. It's just like so well done, and you just know and understand why she's so broken, and you're still rooting for her at the same time. Like, oh, come on, like you're looking at her like this is this kid who needed help and like shelter, and now she's just
killing people.
Terrible person.
It's like it's like, girl, you needed to go to therapy a long time ago. It's not too late.
Yeah,
but
now she's got the juice in there, or whatever, shimmer.
Yep. But great show. Excited for everyone involved in that, stuff like that. And if anything, I hope this expands even beyond just Arcane Season 2. Like, I hope we get... Because this only focused on one country
exactly.
in the League universe. So there's, like, I think 4 others at least they can explore and stuff like that. So I'd love to see one series based on each region, and then they could do, not like Avengers thing, but like some big, because a conflict happens. Spoiler alert. Conflict happens between countries that have resources that everybody wants and stuff like that. So that, as evident by this series. But it'll be really cool. The other thing I watched was Cowboy Bebop on Netflix.
Okay. How far in did you get, or did you watch it all?
I watched it all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I don't know what it was with both Arcane. Like, Arcane felt like as soon as the episodes dropped, like an hour later, people were talking about everything. I'm like, the episodes just came out. Like, what are you talking about? Like, and I'm like, I gotta mute these things and stuff like that. So I like got worried with Cowboy Bebop, even though like I know how the series goes. Like, I was like, well, I don't want to like. I would hate for like them to do some huge twist or reveal, like what's it called, where it's like, you're expecting one thing and they do the opposite turn. So I was like, let me go through this. So I watched through the week. I didn't blitz it like in one shot.
Bait and switch kind of thing.
And how to say, it's good. I'll say it's good, but they definitely changed things to make it a actual, obviously live action adaptation. But further than that, they changed the characters a bit, and I'd say it's a mixed bag because some things are better about the characters, and then there's some things which are worse. But the thing that, and again, I'm okay. Like, to me, I'm just viewing this as like a spin-off or an alternate reality or whatever. New writer comes in and is like, oh well, let me take an homage to the original, something like that. But they absolutely destroyed the main antagonist in the series, Vicious, and like the woman in the love triangle, Julia. Like, absolutely butchered these two characters. Where I'm just like, what are you doing?
I was gonna stop you right here because I only watched episode 1 because I've watched other stuff, and so as soon as I saw them, because they show them at the end of the first episode, I'm like, I don't like this. I don't know. I hope it's not what I'm like. I was like, I don't like it. I've got a bad feeling about this. That's how I was feeling at the end of episode 1.
Yeah.
And to hear what you're saying, it's like, my fears have been confirmed because that whole storyline was some of the most like interesting because that was like the through line for Spike. And so like if they don't do that right, then that's very worrisome for me. So.
Yeah, like, first of all, visually, and the thing is, I always I try not to judge things on like leaked photos or anything anymore. Like, I'll be like, oh, I'll comment on it, but I'm like, I know it's gonna look different in the like final version or something like that.
I mean, look at Quicksilver, right? That was the biggest one.
Yeah, exactly. But like with Vicious, no, it's just like this dude is very obviously wearing like honestly, it looked like he was wearing Henry Cavill's wig from like The Witcher, where it's like
he looked like a cosplayer.
Yeah, that's what it is because like I don't understand it. The other three main characters, Faye, Spike, and Jet, they all look great. Like they're recognizable. It's not like a 1-to-1, but you don't want that from an animated to a live action thing. But it's stylized and it's like, okay, this works. But like him, it's just, dude, like you're like, first of all, the hair, I just cannot get past it. Like I'm just like, don't give him white hair then. Like if you can't make him dye his hair for the role, or get a good looking wig, which is weird to me because cosplayers are doing this regularly. Yeah, with success.
He was a broke ass guy because like there's cosplayers that look real good and stuff, and so like you can do wigs well. Like what's her name in Queen's Gambit was wearing a wig the whole time.
Yeah, the whole time.
Red hair.
Yep.
Yeah, and it looked great. So like you can do wigs fine. This guy he looks so bad, and like he's supposed to be like this like super badass dude, and you just can't take him seriously.
That's exactly it, because like that's the thing in the original series, like he doesn't show up that often, but when he does, you're like, oh shit's gonna go down right now. Something's happening.
Yeah.
But in this series, and without spoiling it, he shows up so often where just like instead of like being afraid for anybody or like be like, oh, what's gonna happen here? I'm just like, I roll my eyes and go, God, please, like let this scene be like really quick or something like that, because it's cringy.
It's
cringy.
The last sequence was so the first in the first episode, the last sequence. I was just watching. I was like, no, really? Is this gonna be him this whole time? Like, it better change.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm disappointed now. So, but I mean, I got my expectations set. Yeah, so
I mean,
I'm looking forward to the rest because I did really enjoy the first episode, and I was like, wow, look at all like they followed that first episode of the anime pretty well. Like everything about it seemed to translate perfectly, and I liked how dirty everything is. It's like a dirty future instead of like a super clean future. So I liked that a lot, and it's interesting they're calling everybody cowboy. But yeah, the episode was fun, and I did like it.
Yeah, that's
what I'd
think.
It's fun. It was a good launching point for, like I said, just the first episode, but I was so disappointed in the ending, and I was like, oh no. As soon as you started mentioning it, I was like,
yeah. But yeah, I mean, obviously I would say it's worth watching, especially if you're a fan.
Right.
So
yeah,
at least have your own opinion. And they do some cool like original things. I'm like, oh, you know what? That's cool.
Nice.
But that's it for me.
All right.
That's
cool. All right. I mean, obviously I mentioned Arcane and then the first episode of Cowboy Bebop, but the other thing I did watch was the Wheel of Time series.
My friend roasted that series on Twitter. She's like, she was live tweeting as she was watching. She goes, like, what the F with blah, 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 blah. And then another tweet like 10 minutes later, what the F, blah, 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 blah. I'm like,
so, the guy that's developing this show is a major, like, huge fan of the Wheel of Time, and so like everybody's pretty excited because this guy, he's like a big fan. He's getting to make the Wheel of Time TV show, but they change so much in this show. Like the first episode alone, you're like, it's like a wholly totally different thing. It's like they took a rough like someone like maybe was talking about the Wheel of Time and the guy overheard it, and so that's like what it seems like here because it's like, oh, it's a fantasy setting. Okay, we'll do it. Like here's some plot points, and then we'll throw it in there, and the rest of it we'll just do. And they just changed so much, and so the first three episodes they're not bad. I think if you're a fan of the Wheel of Time, I think that you probably have a problem with this show. If you're not a fan of the Wheel of Time or don't know the Wheel of Time, I don't think you'll be upset.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was fine, but it's just it doesn't set itself apart, and the changes they don't do, I hope they do because they need to make the TV show more accessible. Because the Wheel of Time
Right.
is very is very not accessible uh, fantasy. So I'm just curious to hear what people think about it that are not Wheel of Time fans,
Mm-hmm.
because my coworker is also a huge Wheel of Time fan. That's his favorite um, book series, and he did not like it either. And so I don't dislike it. I'm just trying to separate it from the book because it is not what I expected it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, they do some major character changes that are are going to be, it's going to have a whole effect on the entire show and the character motivations and stuff. So it'll be interesting. But that's what I've been up to, Mike. We know you said you have not been able to watch much, so let's get into the news, guys. What we have to start with, well, let's see, because I did not get to see much of the news, and I know Jim's not here, but it's unfortunate because his favorite character, Soka, has their own show, and they just cast one of the most popular characters from the Rebels cartoon, Sabine Wren's live action counterpart.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know this actress, but looks good. I mean, it's exciting to see that show's going to play a part. And Ahsoka was in Rebels, so we'll see how this goes. I, I don't know if you've seen any of that stuff, guys. Tony, have you
Re-
seen any of it?
Rebels.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't remember if you saw it or not.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
Mike, you did not, right?
Get to that.
Well, sorry, Mike, I didn't catch all that.
No, I didn't get to that.
No, but yeah, I mean, you probably recognize her. She's all over the place. She's a Mandalorian character, so looks good, exciting. We'll have to ask Jim what he thinks when he's here. But we got more Star Wars news, and it's like Kathleen Kennedy, who's been the main producer in the Star Wars movies for a long time, said they won't forget the Star Wars sequel trilogy characters. I guess meaning like Rey and
Yeah.
Kylo. Um, but like I don't know. Why? What does it matter?
I could not be more disinterested in Star Wars mainline stuff anymore. And I mean, even I'll be honest, anything that's not like a video game or
Hmm.
Mandalorian, like I just could not care less.
Yeah, no, I understand. Like, Mike, what do you think?
Well, I think the reason why she said this is because all the rumors have been that, oh, they're going to write the new trilogy out of canon because it was so poorly received, and
Dude.
everything that sort of draws more from the Legends stuff, which Mandalorian did a little bit, was better received. But I still don't really honestly think that's going to happen. And that's more or less what she's saying here.
Hmm.
And also they tie her to this too. They blame her specifically. So it's sort of like these are my characters, so fuck off, kind of too, a
Yeah,
little bit.
I mean, it is like you're separating yourself from.
Well,
Uh,
Star Wars fans are so like they're fucking dumb because they'll be like, "Oh, Kathleen Kennedy fucking ruined Star Wars," and it's like, okay, so you didn't like the new trilogy, which okay, I get that, but then they'll be like, oh, "Mandalorian is so good, Luke Skywalker come back, so good." It's like, who's the executive producer on that? Who signed off on that? Oh,
people.
Kathleen Kennedy. It's like, wow, that's
Yep.
so fucking weird, but you want to give
The
credit for
other
that.
thing like people will be like, oh, Luke, like George Lucas ruined Star Wars, and now it's like Disney's ruined
No,
Star
yeah,
Wars. Like, Lucas
that
would be back.
these are different people though. People more my age are like George Lucas ruined Star Wars. People younger than me, like the people who grew up on the prequels, are like George Lucas was the best. Like he had a vision,
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
Disney
We
ruined
talked about
everything.
how like the prequel trilogy now is like,
Oh,
you know,
it's there's a
it's
new
beloved
wave
now.
of
Yeah,
positivity for it. Yep,
yeah.
No,
it was
no,
funny
it's
to me.
it's. I mean, it took the sequel trilogy to do this though, so I don't know what that means.
Kind of.
So,
I also do think that was starting a little bit just because there were so many people who were
mm,
kind of sick of us bashing the prequels when it was their first exposure to Star Wars. It was the first new movie I saw. I mean, I think I was 12-ish, 12, almost 13 when Phantom Menace came out.
I mean,
But a few years
we're all
earlier, I saw the
excited for it.
reissue, so
Yeah,
yeah.
but
I don't
yeah,
know.
well,
But
it's we're getting more Star Wars,
there's
so
waves of
it's not
sentiment.
going anywhere. Excuse me. But speaking of new things, Kojima, and I'm surprised this hasn't happened sooner, but Kojima, the prolific video game designer who's done Death Stranding most recently, is his studio is going to be opening up new multimedia section or part or a new studio get dedicated to TV and film and music.
This is honestly
And
everything he's been working up to. Like,
yeah,
I like kind of said, it's like, dude, this should have happened a long time ago.
yeah, no, well, that's the thing is I'm surprised because like I thought not that I was like when he broke off of Konami and created this Kojima Productions, I basically thought that's what he was doing. Was just he wanted to get into all the other media formats and now it's official. But I mean that's really what like you were saying. That's what this was all leading up to in the first place.
Yeah, which good for
What
him. You know,
yeah, what do you think? Because obviously he doesn't have his Metal Gear license or anything, do you think he does something brand new original or tries to stay in that Death Stranding
original. He's got to
universe?
own the IP, man. He has to.
Well, no, I mean Death Stranding's his, but I'm just saying, do you think he branches off of that or tries
Oh,
something brand new?
I don't know. Like, it seems like Death Stranding was like just something for him to um, do, make money, and keep
Flex
the
his creative muscle or whatever.
right, right. Because I think if they were gonna do a sequel, they would have done that already, or like if that's what he wanted to do next was going to be a sequel. So I think he's probably moving on to something. And I wouldn't be surprised for the next thing to be both a video game and a either movie, or maybe
Just
even
look at what we just talked
yeah,
earlier.
a TV
Yeah,
series that all kind of interconnects and stuff like that. Because
right.
I mean, really, if there's somebody that could pull it off, it'd be him. It'd
Mm.
be him.
Yeah, no, I would say that. I mean, his games essentially are 4 hour. If you cut the clips out,
Yeah.
maybe even longer,
Yep.
4 hour movies.
And
So.
he's he rubs elbows with all a lot of actors and stuff. So
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's best bud Keeley.
yep.
So, do we
I do
expect something at Game
wonder
Awards, Mike?
for a movie he makes.
Well, for anything for Kojima. I mean,
I mean, he might be there, but I don't think he has anything
mm,
relevant to announce yet. I do wonder how batshit insane anything he's going to be without. I mean, I would assume without the constraints of gameplay. I don't know if he's going to do the whole what was that game? The Quantum Break thing.
what it was like a TV show and a game in
Yeah,
one.
I'm not sure if that's what he's going to do with this now. I think he might, you know, I have you get the sense that he always wanted to just do a movie.
Hmm.
So I think he might, at least at first, just do a movie, not tied to anything else. But I also think without the constraints of gameplay, he might go insane. Like he already does that in his games anyway.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I can't say that like, oh, a Kojima movie. I want to see that because
Mhm.
the more the narrative like gets in his control, the more I get uninterested. I feel like in his games.
I don't know. I feel the opposite. Like almost like I want to see. I just take the control out of my hands and just let me watch whatever crazy thing he comes up with, and then that'll be that. I don't know. I could see like it'd be if we can fit it into like a under 2 hours, a nice quick not quick but streamline something that doesn't drag out forever. I think it could be interesting.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, let's move on because we got live action Blade Runner and Alien series in the works from Ridley Scott, and while I think Blade Runner might be interesting just because the world and universe is cool, Alien has just been so disappointing. Like everything since Aliens really has been bad. Uh, it's kind of hard to get excited for anything in that universe that's new.
Right.
Have
Yeah.
you?
I just don't care. I mean, what was it? Prometheus? Is that the last thing I watched? That was such a
No, that wasn't
piece.
Prometheus. The one after that,
Covenant.
Covenant.
And
I mean,
Bob.
I didn't like Prometheus either. But Covenant was a
No,
fucking
no.
piece of
I didn't
shit.
even watch that because like
Yeah,
Prometheus was so
I think
shitty.
I even said it. Was like, this is bad, guys. This is like
Yeah.
really bad.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um,
No, absolutely. It's so disappointing
No.
too because I mean, I'm such a fan of that series or universe. Like,
Yeah, I'm much more interested in the Blade Runner stuff, but I don't really know anything about that.
hmm
It's not. I'm assuming it's not going to be related to any of the characters we've already seen
I would
in
hope
the
not.
two movies. I do think that um, there is a little aspect of less is more with Blade Runner. I don't know how much we want to overexplore that universe and all the questions it always raises when you look at it. They're very philosophical movies and sort of have to like consider the state of the universe and what it means
Right.
there in the universe.
But I
So
think
if you
that's
just
what's interesting too, is like
yeah
because you have way more unique opportunities there than like Aliens. It's like, meh.
yeah
Yeah.
it's cool. I just don't want Blade Runner to oversaturate itself too.
Mhm. Did
Basically,
you
its
watch that
style.
anime though, Mike?
No, I did not. I did not.
That was really cool. So I could
All
definitely
right.
see that being interesting going forward. But yeah, so we of course can't have a week without some type of Marvel news because it's
yeah,
always got to have Marvel news.
like clockwork.
Yep. But we got the trailer last week for Spider-Man, which was really cool. We talked about that. That
Our
was a
live
lot of fun.
reaction. You could
Yeah.
hear the trailer on YouTube. You
Yep.
couldn't see it, but
And
whatever.
if you're a listener, check out our YouTube channel because you'll be able to check us live reacting to that trailer. But afterwards, Tom Holland came out and said that if he's playing Spider-Man in his 30s, he's done something wrong. I mean,
First
if
of
you're
all, I
doing,
kind of hate that this was posted to begin with. I don't know. This just seems like slow news day and some
sure,
editor or whatever is like, let's make some
we
controversial
click
headline
this.
for some fucking
Mhm.
clicks. Like,
Well, did he say it or not, though? I mean, if he said it, that's not a
But what's
good
the
thing for him to
context?
say.
That's the thing, though. That's where
Well,
you're just
he's
digging out of context.
known
You don't
a
know.
little bit for saying stupid things, but I don't know. That's that
but
his
like this is
character.
this is
He's
exact.
never gonna look like he's in his 30s anyway. He could be 40.
Sure, but I mean the other thing is too is like every time like fucking actors will come out and say this bullshit. Like when we can just look at the Bond thing with fucking Daniel Craig.
Hmm.
How many times did he say this is my last Bond movie? This is my last Bond movie.
Yeah.
Like 4 movies in a row, 3. I mean whatever it was. It's like a decade long. It's like dude, shut the
I
fuck
do
up.
think it hurt this last movie a little bit too because everyone's like, no, oh, he's over this shit, and this was filmed like 3 years ago. So I don't know.
But it's I mean it's stupid. It's non-news, and honestly the thing is like why would you not want to get a fucking like when what was it? When the deal with Sony and Marvel was expired, he fucking called Bob
Marvel
Sure.
and
right
whoever, yeah.
Bob Eisner fucking called him crying, telling him how important the role is. I'm sorry, you don't go from that to being like, if I'm still playing Spider-Man in my 30s, I'm doing something wrong. It's like
No, but this is. See, as someone in my mid 30s now, and I work with kids who are about 19. This thing that the 30 is some insurmountable distant age that is too far for them to even
He's
think about.
closer to 30 than he is
He's
to
closer to
19.
30.
25 only. He's only 25. So he probably thinks, this is a kid's role, a kid's character, and again, he started out in high school, which, whatever. I'm not all about it. I think Spider-Man gets more interesting when you age him up a little because we've seen him in high school and college already. But so maybe that's it. He's just like, oh, Spider-Man, doesn't work as an older character. He thinks maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's the part where I'm like, okay.
if you can hold a job for, decades, then that's pretty impressive.
Anyway, I'm just saying, this is fucking non-news. It's such fucking non-news. I hate it. Jim, if you listen to this, stop posting these fucking articles.
Well, I don't know about that.
Let's end on one last thing here because, I'm sure you guys all are excited to talk about Mass Effect some more. And Amazon, we just talked about Wheel of Time, their Amazon show, is nearing a deal to develop a series based on the Mass Effect franchise. How
this might surprise you, but I'm excited for this. If this happens, I would be excited.
Really?
I would be excited. Absolutely.
Now, how is this different to you?
There's too many questions at the same time.
Go ahead, Mike.
How is this different than, to me, this is a narrative-based video game thing that is, I think, done better because it's a video game. So how is this different than, say, an Uncharted thing where you think, oh, it's already kind of a movie. Why do we need a movie or TV version of this?
So with Uncharted, I think Nathan Drake is a very specific character, and Naughty Dog themselves are very cinematic-focused studio. That's all I've done for the past 15 years. So it just feels to me like, what do I gain by watching an Uncharted movie or The Last of Us movie or television series, rather, HBO series, whatever. Whereas Mass Effect, there's wiggle room to play in. First of all, it doesn't have to be about Shepard. I would love if they actually did something ballsy and were like, hey, this is set at the dawn of intergalactic space travel. And having all these races meet each other and negotiate for peace and whatever and all that stuff. That would be cool. I'm not saying that's absolutely going to happen, but as of right now, that sounds cool. They're not limited to just, hey, it's got to be Shepard. And even if it is, Shepard, there's some interesting things to play there because those games are RPGs and everybody we've talked about it on the podcast when we played through this game, everybody made their own decisions. And, obviously there's Renegade or Paragon and stuff like that. But a series would have, its own way of doing things. I would hope, at least. Again, hopeful. I'm not saying it's absolutely going to. But on paper, I'm like, okay, this sounds interesting to me because there's a lot more that they can do with a series based on that show, on that franchise, rather than again an Uncharted or, Last of Us. Because if Last of Us was like, hey, sorry to interrupt real quick. If Last of Us was like, hey, you know what? We're going to tell a story about, another character, like a new character.